Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And definitely the most striking thing that I saw this week were the Freedom and Justice Gundam real type colors illustrated in the classic Okawara style. But for being real types, I gotta say that the colors are still quite out there. The Freedom has definitely become the most realistic of the two, with its main colors being light gray, black, and moss green, but then for some reason the realism is broken up by bright baby blue. Not exactly a color that screams military or realism. Like, a burnt red would have worked so much better here in my opinion. The Justice then is now completely blue, and again, it is more of a bright blue instead of a darker blue. Like, had they gone for a dark blue Titan-esque color scheme, I think that would have been perfect for a real type. I guess it does stand out less in space now, but it is still pretty out there. But if you are a fan of the color scheme, you can get both machines as a set from the G-Frame Full Armor lineup. Pre-orders are up on Japanese P-Bandai, because of course, and for 7,975 yen, which is around 60 US, you are getting a nice array of accessories. Both units come with open and closed hands, a shield, beam rifle, dedicated stand, and two types of beam sabers with effect parts. One pair of separate beam sabers, and then another pair with like hooks on the end so that they can be connected. The Freedom then comes with a set of deployed railguns, and the Justice with a pair of active beam boomerangs. And this set will be flying your way in December. And then the other big thing was that the Kickstarter for Gundam Breaker Battlogue new build went live. And it is what it is. It is a pretty expensive mixed bag. So let's start with the positives. The cover art is done by Jonathan Marks Baravecchia and is absolutely phenomenal. I never really cared too much about the live lands, but man, this thing is impressive. If the entire book had been like this art, that would have been awesome. But it isn't. We do still get some cool art, like this page that looks nice and esoteric. It's really well put together with the colors and whatnot, but the rest is less good or just straight up this. Which makes me a lot less excited about this book. And on top of that, for being a Gundam manga, the mobile suits also often feel disproportionate and not in a good way to convey like movement or exaggerated actions as you sometimes see in both the anime and manga. Yes, it does say that the art is not final, so it can still change a bit, but I mean, I'm always going with the assumption you want to make a good first impression, for example, like the cover. So you're going to put your best work out there, and if this is what they consider to be some of the best work in the 120 pages of the book, I mean, in the grand scheme of Gundam manga, this feels very and is unremarkable, unfortunately. Combine that with prohibitively expensive logistics, and I'm gonna have to sit this one out. The digital version is $15, the Kickstarter exclusive hardcover physical version is $40, and from there the tiers go up all the way to $1,000 for people who also want to like appear themselves in the graphic novel. Unfortunately, these prices do not include shipping and taxes, so for me, getting just a hardcover version shipped to Belgium would cost over $100, and that is a bit too much in my books for a 120-page graphic novel that looks like this. The campaign is looking for 80,000 US dollars, will conclude on September the 23rd, and did manage to get over 15,000 in the first few hours. So for the campaign, things are looking pretty good. And, you know, maybe for the future, if this succeeds, it could also mean more interesting projects going forward. And of course, if you want to support the Kickstarter, it is linked down below. And continuing with the Gunpla, the Master Grade Stark Jegan has got a restock on Japanese P-Bandai, and the second wave of Gunpla scan movies became available on YouTube, which I will all, of course, have linked down below. And believe me, the results are very interesting. The tech is still the same as last time, so while it is impressive, it's not exactly perfect either, but that didn't stop some Japanese modelers from trying to push it to the limits. For example, what would happen if you put a very custom barbs in there? Or what would happen if you completely disregard the recommended sizes and just plop one of the biggest high grades in there? Or what would happen if you placed the figurized standard Suletta and Miorine in there? The answer is nightmare fuel. It is very clear that the machine is calibrated and fine-tuned for mobile suits and mechs and not characters, but yeah, very interesting to see nonetheless. Again, all of these videos and more can be found in the description, and there are some really cool ones in there. Or if figures are more your thing and you are in Japan, then you might want to give the next Ichiban Kuji lineup a shot on August the 26th. This week we got a new promotional video for the lineup where Lacus herself introduces the prizes you can win. I will have it linked down below, but it is region locked to Japan, so you'll need a service like NordVPN to access it. And by using the link down below, or the code kkrt, you will not just get a sweet discount, but you'll also be supporting the channel. As for the things you can get from this lottery, then one ticket costs 850 yen, which is around 6 US, and gets you one of 7 tiers of prizes. Tier A is the main prize and is a bust of the Freedom Gundam, which looks very nice and impressive. Tier B is an acrylic stand of Athrun and Kira, with Lacus Kigali, the Freedom and the Justice in the background. Tier C is an acrylic stand of Lacus and Kigali, with Kira, Athrun and the Strike Rouge being in the background. Tier D is a random clear bottle featuring 3 flavors of freedom, the Zono, the Omni logo, or the Zaft logo. Tier E is an A3 visual mat featuring 8 different designs. Tier F is a microfiber cloth also featuring 8 different designs. And then finally, Tier G is a random acrylic stand of the 18 most prominent characters: Kira, Lacus, Athrun, Kigali, Izak, Diarca, Nickel, Miguel, Ra, Mu, Maru, Johnny, Orga, Clotho, Athrun in piloting suit, Lacus in her captain suit, Kigali in her official attire, and Kira in his piloting suit. And as an extra bonus, the person who gets the final ticket also gets a shiny version of that Freedom bust. Meanwhile, on the gaming front, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Gym Dominance water equipment took the plunge, and in Gundam Arsenal Base, Link Stage Season 3 has begun with some cool new ultra-rare cards, being the Calibarn and Suletta, Star Build Strike and Sei Iori and Reiji, Zeta Gundam Biosensor version and Vegetable Bidon, the O and Paptoma Shirako, and Ollie Alsaches, who will just steal whatever machine he can get his hands on. And the Ptolemaios also joins as a selectable battleship, captained by Sumeragi Lee Noriega. Oh, and a few weeks ago, I also said that I was going to give a deeper analysis of Gundam Poetry of Steel's gameplay, based on a gameplay video that I found on YouTube after, I already did the editing. Unfortunately, it turns out the gameplay is about as deep as the paper I printed the analysis on. It is the simplest of simple, mobile gacha systems out there. You plop your mobile suits on the grid, and the mission plays basically itself, with your only input being tapping on the icon of each mobile suit for a special attack once they've gathered enough SP. After the mission, you then hit a button to level them up, rinse, and repeat. And while it's not a perfect analogy, my mind kept telling me that it felt like the G Generation games, but without the strategy. You know, one of the main reasons why those games are so fun. The game might have some nice graphics and also very good music, all one tracks, but I honestly can't see myself playing this over the myriad of other mobile games available at the moment. And in other news then, this week's Mobile Suit Girl isn't just a single girl, but instead a squadron of 3 Zaku 2 girls piloting the Big Zam, which also got a very cool redesign. But despite the Big Zam being big, the cockpit space looks extremely cramped once that thing is gonna close up. And then from August the 26th, Bandai will be releasing the Fuwakororin Lucky Get Can badges. And the concept here is quite similar to the Ichiban Kuji lottery that we just went over. For 550 yen, which is around 4 to 5 US, you get a random can badge and also a ticket. And if the ticket is lucky, you'll also get a cushion. And then if you get the last ticket, you also get a special cushion. As for the things you could get this week then, we immediately go to the reading material. There was the October issue of Hobby Japan featuring the Full Mechanics Forbidden Gundam and Master Grade Gelgoog Johnny Raiden custom, the October issue of the monthly model graphics featuring the high grade Gun Cannon Kukuruzawan's Island version, the September issue of Grand Jump Mucha in which Gundam Rust Horizon is being serialized, the second tankobon volume of Rust Horizon was also released, and the Witch from Mercury Gunpla Beginner's Guide was released on Amazon USA, UK, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands as an ebook. And for this short week's apparel, we only have 3 collections that went up on Bankore. As always, links to it as well as a guide on how to buy from it down below. On Monday, you could order a Cool Sun or Hot Sun hand towel for 1,540 yen each, 11 US, or a face towel for 2,200 yen, 15 US. On Tuesday then, you could get fancy with a black Char or green Xeon leather wallet, which go for 33,000 yen each, 228 US, and they are slated for a September release. For that price though, they are handcrafted and do use high quality leather. And then finally today, the acrylic logo display X Gundam X became available in large and small sizes, going for 1,650 yen, 11 US, and 1,320 yen, 9 US respectively. And these will be coming your way in October when the moon is out. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. With the release of the real great Epyon coming close, Gundam.info wants to know what our favorite scene involving the Gundam is. The options are the destruction of Luxembourg, the first battle with the Wing Zero, slicing Barge/Bulge in half, or the final battle with the Wing Zero. And I think it's been a while, but so far, both the main website version and the Twitter version of the poll are in complete agreement with each other. And what I find even funnier is that the rankings are the exact opposite of their position in the poll. The destruction of Luxembourg is last because, compared to the other 3, it's not all that memorable. The first battle is third because Again, while it was a cool battle, it doesn't quite hold a candle to the rest. And then the slicing of Barge in half is second because, I mean, it really did show the amazing power of the Epyon's beam saber. And then the obvious, or at least what I would think obvious first place, is the final battle between it and the Wing Zero. That fight was just awesome. The animation was great, the music was great, and it really is just burnt into my memory. What is noteworthy though is that while on Gundam.info it's in a comfortable lead, on Twitter the slicing in half of Barge is actually pretty close, so anything is still possible here. Personally, I think this is how it should be, but again, anything can still change, so if you want to cast your vote, I will of course have it linked down below. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.